Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is MahfuzVanGogh, your Dredge guy, and today we continue our saga with Modern. In Modern, we are playing 4-color Phoenix Dredge, but with some spicy additions, both to the main deck and to the sideboard. Let's check them out. So I'll try for the first time including Inquisition of Kozilek in the main deck. In the last week, or more than a week, maybe 9 days, I'm recording this on Thursday, I've been playing Inquisition of Kozilek in the sideboard. And if you are on my Patreon, you must remember my previous guide, published last week, which included 4 copies of Inquisition of Kozilek in the sideboard. And I've been playing this playset of Inquisition in the sideboard for the more than a week now, and I got maybe 5 or 6 4-1s, and usually the last game of the last match I end losing it because my opponent had something pretty good in some of our games and I couldn't remove it, usually on game 1. I told you before that this is a linear deck, right? You want to combo off with Artist's Talent. Let me put Talent here on display. So Talent is a great card that was added to this deck recently, but Talent is also a trap sometimes because, yeah, it is pretty strong when you have your full combo, but sometimes your opponent just can be faster than you. If you're on the draw and your opponent played a threat on turn 1 and turn 2, maybe Prowess or Energy Decks, for example, and you spend your whole turn 2 just casting Artist's Talent, and then your opponent just have enough cats to win the game, or sometimes Prowess decks can even win on turn 3. They can goldfish you quite easily, especially because we are a 4-color deck with several fetch lands. So that's also the reason why I'm not playing Thoughtseize instead of Inquisition of Kozilek. I know that Thoughtseize is a better card overall, but Modern has been so aggressive lately. If you have fetch land, Blood Crypt, and Thoughtseize on turn 1, you are already down to 15 life. So I want to get that low on life on turn 1 against Prowess and Energy decks, and that's why I'm getting Inquisition instead of Thoughtseize, and also because everything I want to take from opponent's hands costs 3 or less. What I want to take from my opponent's hands? Usually Kozilek's Command, Surgical Extraction, Thriven Charm, Force of Negation, Ephemerate, and many others. You might think that, well, this is probably just a meta call choice, and if you think that, you're right. If at some moment we have more combo decks in Modern, or more maybe Prowess can get nerfed at some point with a new ban, you never know. But at the moment, at least online in leagues, I'm seeing many Prowess decks. Yesterday, I went 4-1 in a league and 3 decks were Prowess. I lost to one of them. So Inquisition is quite good, and especially now that I am playing more and more Modern, I'm noticing that many players online already know me. I used to be recognized online when playing Legacy, but Modern, this is quite new. So sometimes I'm on the play and I see the opponent mulliganing into 4 just to find their main deck Surgical Extraction or Spellbomb or something like that, playing against me when paired against me. So having this card in your main deck can be good in several situations like those. And also I've been having great moments with Inquisition post-sideboard. So I can say that these 60 cards in the main board is maybe our deck pre-sideboarded, if that makes sense. Usually when I want to include Inquisition of Kozilek, I take exactly 1 Otherworldly Gaze, 1 Burning Inquiry, 1 Talent, and 1 Loan. Sometimes 1 Thug instead of 1 Otherworldly Gaze or 1 Talent, but those cards are sided out frequently. They have been sided out frequently in the previous week. Something that I'm learning about Modern is that the Modern metagame changes faster than Legacy. Of course, if you play Modern, you already know that. But sometimes the configuration that you have in your main deck or in your sideboard needs to change in the next week because something is evolving in the metagame. So meta calls like this that I will try today in this Legacy League, in this Modern League, I'm sorry. This is still early in the morning. So I think this is a meta call, and maybe next week I don't want Inquisitions anymore because everyone is playing Affinity or something like that. So, well, Inquisition is good against Affinity, but you know what I mean. What about our sideboard? I'm testing something spicy here as well. Hurricane's Recall. I had a great moment yesterday with testing Hurricane's Recall for the first time, and I actually made a short clip of 3 minutes or something like that, and I will post here this week, because this card is pure poetry against Affinity when it resolves, because they have counter spells. But especially paired with your combo kills, Hercules Recall is especially good against Affinity. Meltdown is good against Affinity and other decks with cheap artifacts, especially when you're on the draw. Your opponent plays artifacts on turn 1, and then you just destroy them on your first turn. Pick Your Poison is pretty good against ley lines, but we are not seeing that many ley lines around. But any Urza Saga on turn 1, trying to get to that spell bomb in the main deck or something like that. Pick Your Poison is good against opposing ley lines, like in Zoo decks, for example. Into the Flood Maul, generic bounce spell that I like a lot in this deck. And now I'm testing again 2 copies of Bosejo. You see, this build with Artist's Talent is faster than the previous ones, the previous builds that we had here on the channel. But it might be slightly worse against decks like Charbelcher, for example. Against Charbelcher, I had a high win rate with the previous builds, with more dedicated sideboard cards against combo. And now that we are slightly faster, we don't have that many cards like Void Mirror, Two Grudges, Collector Oof. They don't make much sense in the current meta. But if we are paired against Tron, or Charbelcher, or even Affinity, Bosejo can be pretty good. Surgical against reanimation cards, reanimation spells, and 3 extra copies of Lightning Axe and Conflagrate that I expect a lot to include instead of Artist's Talent being on the draw, or something like that, because talent sometimes, as I told you previously, can be pretty slow against faster decks. If you're new here because you are just starting to play Phoenix Dredge and maybe this is weird for you, well, how can you get only 3 cards, include only 3 cards, 3 copies of talent in your main deck, since it is the best card of the deck, right? The deck's best card. Well, I disagree. I think talent is a great card, but the second copy usually can be good if you play 2 copies of talent, of course. But the metagame has been so fast that usually the second copy of talent is your worst card in the whole deck, like we see in Legacy with Breakthrough, for example. The first Breakthrough is excellent. The second, usually not that much, and that's why I'm including only 3 copies of talent now. We can definitely win games without talent. This happens all the time. You don't need to aggressively mulligan to have your talent. But you must play your cards wisely, especially because now we have Inquisition in the main deck, so evaluating your starting hand is crucial to have more and more wins. Well, I'm rambling here because this is still early. I had a shower and a cup of coffee, but for me this is still pretty early. But I want to explain to you why I'm doing so many changes here. This will be my first time playing Inquisition of Kozilek in this main deck. Let's go to the league now, or Modern League. Hope you enjoy this league with me. Let's see if this Inquisition will work. Oh, and we have a Modern Challenge starting in a couple of hours. So I'm not sure if I will play this today. I'm at home, so I can also play in the next Modern Challenge, even if it's midweek. But I'm not sure if I will play this. Let's see how this goes, and if we notice that we are losing because we have Inquisition, maybe this is not a good idea, maybe we don't need something, we can still do some changes before the Modern Challenge. So let's start our league. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below already if you're excited to keep joining Modern Dredge here on this channel. And if you are fond of Legacy, I'm also a Legacy player, as you know, but I need to record a little bit more with this deck before diving deep into Legacy again, because I'm writing new guides for my Patreon. If you're not on my Patreon, you should be there. Patreon.com/thedredgeguy. And every time I write a new article about this deck, a new guide, a new prime, I'm noticing that, well, maybe we can try something more. Maybe the list is not ready yet. I'm a perfectionist, like you already know. And even if I had dozens and dozens of pages written about this deck, I think we still have some room to improvement here, testing new cards until we get to the final 75. So let's do it right now. I want to say thank you to all my patrons that you can see here on this page. Guys, you are awesome, and I can create content because of your continuous support. If you also want to help me as a content creator, please go there, check my Patreon page, patreon.com/thedredgeguy. See you there. Round 1, we're paired against ehstar, and we are on the play. No, thank you. Let's try better than that. Okay, this is a hand. This is much better. We don't have dredgers yet, but we have 3 lands, and we have our best tool to find dredgers here. We also can... Let's see what my opponent is playing. We can play Otherworldly Gaze, we can cast Otherworldly Gaze, or maybe just finding a Surveil land on turn 1. Let's see. Okay, it's Tron with an Expedition map. So let's yield until the next end step. I'll crack Eridmissa for Thundering Falls. Okay, chill. We are winning. My opponent is down to 17. We are up to 22. And now we draw, okay, another land. So my opponent doesn't have answers to Resolved Artist's Talent. So this is our best turn 2 against Tron. And since we have Gaze, we can even cast Gaze twice if we need it. But let's see if we can find a Dredger on turn 2. I think my opponent is reading the card. It's 8:16 a.m. So I already had a cup of coffee. I think I need one extra coffee after this run. Maybe. Let's see. I've been drinking too much coffee lately. So maybe just a cup of water instead. My opponent played Eldrazi Temple, so it's Eldrazi Tron. They have 3 mana available if they have an Eldrazi. Or they can just crack Expedition map this turn. The best of the worlds here is if my opponent just crack Expedition map. Let's see. 3 mana. At least it's not Kozilek's command. Okay, just Flash Wrecker. We might win this now. Let's see. Please, Otherworldly Gaze, be good too. Let's discard Arclight Phoenix. This is our first spell this turn. Now we have an Inquisition of Kozilek, which is not the worst. Oh, we have so many good cards there, but we don't have Dredgers yet. Okay, so maybe Inquisition plus Looting or Inquisition plus Inquiry. If we cast Inquisition, we can loot once more, trying to hit our Dredger. Let's keep Inquiry. Let's believe in our deck. Let's believe. I'll crack Wooded Foothills. And if we see that my opponent's hand is garbage, we can maybe wait one more turn to have more... Let's discard. Okay, now we have a Dredger. So we might win this turn. And my opponent's hand is not good. Let's take that Flute. We might even improve my opponent's hand with this Inquiry. But this is already our 3rd card. We already have a Phoenix. 1 chill. Good. My opponent's down to 14. We might win here, guys. We might win here. That's the strength of Otherworldly Gaze. Oh, actually, we had no Dredges there, so forget what I just told you. I'm still sleeping. I forget that we had our only Dredger in our hand. Okay, so now we have Dredgers, and we have a Phoenix coming back. I think I will drink another coffee. I think I need it. It's too early. I should be sleeping. Okay, where's this mine for my opponent? So we know about 2 lands in their hand, and we don't know about anything else. My opponent might be holding Kozilek's command. Let's see. I think I'll just dredge here. We have strong options here, which include that Faithless Looting. Or maybe we have one... Yeah, I think looting is better here. We need to be lucky to win with that Conflagrate plus... Yeah, we need some darts here. Now I have dredges. Dredge 4. Okay, first dart, dredge 5. Okay, 2 darts, guys. If my opponent doesn't exile our Creeping Chill, it's because we have the win here. Okay, down to 8. Let's target them with 1 dart. Triggering Talent, Dredge 5, and once more. Yeah, my opponent knows what is happening, and they concede. Okay. Eldrazi Tron, not that strong as it used to be. People are playing more Affinity instead of Eldrazi Tron. We could include Picker Poison, Meltdown, and Herc's Recall, but I don't think... Of course, my opponent might have an early Karn, but I think our deck is best choice here. Since I'm not playing Ancient Grudge anymore, at least today, I think only a couple of Bosages, maybe Lightning Axe. We saw Thought-Knot Seer and Flash Wrecker. Let's think here. Do I really need Inquisition of Kozilek on the draw? I think I'll still play it because I'm testing the card, right? So maybe Inquisitions are not that good on the draw, but they can get an Kozilek's command anyways. Do I include Lightning Axe as a test? Maybe not. Okay, let's just include the 2 copies of Bosajo here, instead of 1 Mountain and Conflagrate. Why Conflagrate, you might ask? Well, it's because, as you saw in the previous game, Conflagrate is not that useful against this deck. Okay, we have a great hand here. Quite slow, because we don't have turn 1 way to discard our Dredgers. I will not target Inquisition of Kozilek. I will not target myself with Inquisition. My opponent has a turn 1 Expedition map. Alright. Since we have a turn 2 Talent, let's start with this, but we might need to wait 1 turn if we don't draw a land here. But I will definitely... Okay, this was a miss. Yeah, maybe Inquisition is not that good on the draw. But my opponent's card, important card here, would be Expedition Map. My opponent passes, trying to reach Tron. And Creeping Chill is this single card that we don't want to draw here. Yeah, talent. Yeah, let's concede here, guys. We will not win this game. Maybe you will want to see me trying it, but we will not win this game. Let's go. My opponent's hand was too good, and our hand was too slow. My opponent will get strong and do nasty things with us. So against us. So let's submit the deck back. I think on the play, Inquisitions will be good. Inquisitions will be definitely good. Be good, but not in with this hand. Let's mulligan. Okay, on the play we might keep it. In Faithless Looting we trust, right? My opponent is also mulliganing. Let's put this Lava Dart back. We at least have access to 2 untapped lands, but not that much excitement here with this hand, but let's see. It all depends on this looting. Okay, we have talent and a turn 3 Faithless Looting, so this might be good enough. Which is tower for my opponent. And Vexing Bubble, alright. We don't have counter spells, but Vexing Bubble will counter our Lava Darts. We can still cast them, but let's pay attention with the math when we calculate lethal to do lethal damage to our opponent. So talent on turn 2, it is in play. Talent is pretty good against Tron because we can win 1 turn earlier compared to previous builds. Alright, just a Mind Stone. My opponent kept a weird hand and another bubble. Alright, they are not good in multiples. So Dredge 5, Shield is there. We have Otherworldly Gaze. My opponent's down to 17. This can be just a basic mountain, right? Or maybe Blood Crypt. I don't think this game will be decided just through a couple of points of damage. Let's trigger here, this Dredge 5, and now it resolves. We need Dart. We have 1 Dart there. Okay. This was our first spell. I'll try it, guys. I'll try it because we can work with 2 lands. Vexing Bubble will counter it, but we need just 1 more Dart, and we found it. Great. We don't have the win yet, unless we hit 1 more Phoenix here or 1 more Chill. Okay, 1 more Chill and 1 more Dart. We have everything we need. So let's make a statement here. Just sacrificing everything. Okay, we couldn't hit more, but we reached lethal on turn 3. That's some talent involved. And it feels good to be favored against Tron. Let's go to our next match. Round 2, guys, and I had another cup of coffee. I think I will pay more attention now. This is definitely a mulligan. We are on the play. This can work. We have an Inquisition in the main deck that might surprise our opponent. And then we have Loam on turn 2, Loam or Gaze on turn 3. It's a plan. It's a slow plan, but having Inquisition helps us a lot. Let's see my opponent's secrets. Oh, okay. My opponent is playing Esper, Riddler, Blink. I'm not afraid of Pest Control here. This is just an expensive cycler. So let's take Fatal Push. Well, Pest Control is also kind of card advantage, but I think I will just take the push because my opponent might have an opportunity to push one of our Phoenixes. So my opponent played Misty, and I will draw... Oh, the worst draw in our entire deck. Why we are always drawing Creeping Chills on turn 2? Why? This must be something with Modul's Shuffler. Do you believe in it? Okay, now we will probably cast Loam and Gaze on turn 3. This is a slower start for us compared to what we saw against Tron. But I think it's fine. After that Inquisition, we saw that my opponent's hand is quite slow. This is a slower deck than compared to Tron, for example. So we are not afraid. My opponent, the card on top, the Gloom Lake Verge, and passes. They might have a creature or just a Cycling Pest Control this turn. We can't cast Gaze here because we don't have blue yet. Let's Dredge. Okay, no Dredgers. So let's play Bloodstained Mire here and crack it. Against this player, I'm not afraid of grabbing my Shocklands here. So I think I'm fine. Let's see if we can put more lands in our graveyards. No, but we found a Dredger. And we even have a Conflagrate here if we need it soon. Let's grab our 4th land, putting a 2nd Dredger there. And then luckily we will find... We can even cast Otherworldly Gaze on our next upkeep. My opponent cycles the Sorcery. Ooh. And plays Polluted Delta. So we know about Riddler. My opponent is not playing Riddler as card advantage here. So I think they definitely have counterspells. So I will play slowly here. Because I'm expecting counterspells from my opponent. So let's work towards Conflagrate with Loam. How can we start here? My opponent doesn't know that our hand is that bad. They might fear a Burning Inquiry or Talent here in our hand. I think I'll just pass the turn here, guys. Okay, let's see what my opponent will do. because I think my opponent has Force of Negation or Counterspell or both. So let's see this Surveil here first. Okay, my opponent kept the card on top again, but they are not doing a single thing. So that's why I think my opponent has Counterspells. Okay, we don't need this land. And I think I will cast this Otherworldly Gaze now instead of on my opponent's turn. Nothing that good, expecting to find another enabler here, maybe talent. Considering this situation here, okay, my opponent will play Orcish Bowmaster. Considering this situation here, I don't think that I would keep talent on top, because talent will not do much against a control deck with counter spells in their hand. And my opponent now dealt 2 damage to us and not to them. They are still holding 3 mana, 3 untapped blue mana. So let's dredge 4. Okay, 1 dart there. We have darts and conflagrate, so if we need to, we can just destroy Orcish Bowmasters at any moment. We have 1 Phoenix. My opponent plays Fatal Push, so I'm not that afraid of Solitude here. Maybe this is definitely an Ephemerate build, and my opponent definitely has Solitude, right? But we know about 1 real... Okay, this is exactly what we needed. Let's keep this on top. I'll be brave here, guys. I will not have 1 Phoenix. My opponent might also have Consign to Memory here. And life is a resource, right? We are down to 8. My opponent can put us down to 6. But they are not threatening lethal so far. Just a couple of small creatures. Life is a resource. Let's not be afraid. I'm doing some math here with Conflagrate. How much damage we can push this turn or in the next turn. Let's pass the turn here. My opponent is not doing much again. Yeah, they are just holding counterspells. We didn't see a single counterspell yet, so my opponent is keeping cards on top. They definitely have counterspell. We're down to 6. Life is a resource. Let's say it again. My opponent plays Misty, down to 17. Basic Island now. They can cast a Quantum Reader. Okay, my opponent is tapped, finally. Oh, and down to 3 cards. So if they have Force of Negation, we cannot cast Looting again. But I will not play around Force of Negation now. We played around Counterspell as long as we could. Let's cast Looting. Okay, it's resolving. So I think my opponent had Counterspells. Dredge and Dredge 5. Okay, we are cooking. My opponent doesn't have Ephemerate available. So we have 5 mana available here. We can cast Looting and even Conflagrate. I need to dig a little deeper than that. So not dig, dredge. I want to dredge 10 more cards. Okay, my opponent is considering here. Do they have a Force of Negation? They do. Okay, so this was a misplay from my opponent. I think I will destroy Quantum Reader here. We have enough lands to do exactly that, and then my opponent cannot block our Phoenixes. 4 damage, yeah, my opponent pressed 6, so everything is good. We are down to 4. And now Reader is out. My opponent has only 2 cards in their hand. 2 Phoenixes. Am I attacking with both? Yes. Life is a resource, guys. My opponent doesn't have haste creatures or lightning bolts, so let's believe. And if we feel we need it, we have a Lava Dart in our graveyard. Okay, my opponent played only a tapped land, and they will put us down to 2. We need some Creeping Chills here. Please, deck. Temio. Temio is fine. Dredge 5. Finally. Finally. Sometimes your chills are just waiting for you on your bottom 20 cards. Something tells me that my opponent has only a land there, hopefully. Yeah, my opponent pressed F6 here. Dredge, dredge. This is our first spell. And we cannot... Yeah, my opponent is conceding. Yeah, they had nothing else. Just Temio as a blocker. Woof! This was our first game, guys. More than 10 minutes here. Let's go to war game 2. We have some cards here that we could include, but against Esper Blink, I think we are already pre-sided versus Blink decks. Inquisition is our single card here that has some utility. Of course, Lightning Axe is good, but since we are playing Inquisitions in the main deck, and we didn't see that many creatures from the other side, right? My opponent's build, we had almost 10 turns, and my opponent had only Orcish Bowmasters and Quantum Reader and a late Temio. So maybe this is more blue-oriented. Okay, this is fine. We have the right colors of mana to start this game. We have black and blue and red. We don't have green yet, but that's fine. My opponent also kept 7 cards. Polluted Delta, and another land is actually pretty good. Let's start with Inquisition of Kozilek. Let's see our opponent's secrets. This is pretty good because I'm noticing that modern players, even with cards like Nihil Spellbomb or Tormod Script, sometimes they... Okay, my opponent's hand is kind of medium. Celestial Purge is good, but we can play around Purge. I think I will take Frog here because it's my opponent's only source of card advantage, and we don't have a clear answer to Frog now. If they find a counterspell, We have a Conflagrate, but I don't want to discard 7 cards to kill a frog. As I was saying, I'm noticing that in Legacy, when your opponent have a Tormod Script or a Spell Bomb, they usually play that Silver Bullet against you on turn 1, right? Because Legacy Dredge can win on turn 1 sometimes. But on Modern, everyone feels so safe that Graveyard deck will not win on turns 1 and 2, that sometimes opponents will just... This is pretty good. Opponents will just... Let's put this to the graveyard. I'll keep only talents because we already have an Inquiry. Because you cannot kill your opponent on turn 2 and 3, usually. So they just wait 1 or 2 turns to get you when you less expect. Am I casting this Conflagrate here just to put it on my graveyard? Because next turn we have talent plus Inquiry. But if my opponent has something weird, we could wait 1 more turn. Maybe Conflagrate is just better there. Yeah, let's just discard this Conflagrate paying 1 red mana. If we feel that we need to cast Conflagrate next turn, we at least have this option. But it doesn't seem so. My opponent is pretty control-ish. Oh, my opponent skipped their 3rd land. Okay, so now we have talent plus Inquiry. Do we just... The thing is, if I play Artist Talent here, my opponent will just cast Purge, right? And I'll have 1 extra trigger with Burning Inquiry, which is something. But maybe I can wait until my opponent taps their lands to do my thing. I don't know, guys. This is a weird situation. My opponent is... Yeah, my opponent is drawing cards. Let's take this opportunity here to resolve our Otherworldly Gaze. So, Commercial District, now we have green. Loam in our graveyard. And now I'll cast this Otherworldly Gaze before my opponent can draw Force of Negation. Okay, just lands and 1 Dredger. I want to have enough action before deploying this Artist Talent. A Lava Dart in our graveyard would be pretty good, because then we can cast Inquiry, and when my opponent responds with Purge, we can just cast an instant spell and having more value from our talent. Okay, just looting. Looting plus Inquiry is pretty good. We don't need to resolve talent here to win the game. Maybe it's just better to... I don't know, guys. I'm not sure here. My opponent is not doing much. They are not countering our spells. Okay, now we have a Dart there and 2 Phoenixes. So yeah, I think if my opponent doesn't have an answer here, we can just win now without our talent. Chill is on the stack. My opponent is paying black mana. Oh, they have a Surgical. Okay, this is... Usually I don't play around Surgicals against Blink decks, but my opponent's deck is slightly different from what I've been playing against. Esper opponents usually have Philia and several value creatures, but my opponent seems to be just just an Esper control build, not exactly Esper Blink. Can we win without our Phoenixes? We have Inquiry. We know about my opponent's Purge, so let's cast Inquiry here. Usually I would say that casting Artist Talent and going up with the talent is a reasonable way to win. But against Celestial Purge, it is not. Thankfully, my opponent discarded Purge. Unfortunately, we also discarded our talent. So, no time to be talented in this game. I think to win here, we need to push my opponent into cracking lands, getting fetches untapped. Yeah, my opponent is playing tapped lands because we don't have enough talents here. We have chills. We have exactly enough, right? Unless my opponent has consigned to memory. I did the math here. I think we can win here just by dredging with Conflagrate. But unfortunately, I think my opponent has a counterspell. Let's see. If this resolves, we will win. We have 3 darts, waiting for... Yeah, my opponent has a counterspell. That's the thing about playing against control, right? They have answers. They definitely have answers. So I can put my opponent down to 4, but we don't have chills anymore. So maybe if my opponent cracks a fetch and get another untapped land to play something, but they are not stupid, right? They will not do that. And my opponent has Subtlety in their hand and Edicts, so casting creature will not be helpful enough. I can dredge 4 here. We found our last start. My opponent is virtually on 3, but they are not paying life for anything here. Yeah, guys, we will not win this game, unfortunately. Dedicated control decks. Yeah, let's review our whole deck here. I don't care. Let's consider that for the future. My mind was so focused on winning against Esper Blink, but this is pure Esper control, not Esper Blink. This is a different deck that I'm not seeing that much in this metagame. Okay, so let's sideboard properly against my opponents. So against a surgical deck, second Conflagrate is pretty good because this might be our way to win. if we can't force my opponent to discard that surgical, or if they get to their surgical later, especially because my opponent can just counter our spells and then finally get a surgical extraction. So having 2 conflagrates is pretty good. I think Inquisition is still good, but I'll try only 3 here, because I don't want to touch in our other cards. Maybe this is just wrong, and Inquisition is incredible on the play, especially against control. But I think our way to win against control is also being precise, not only control-ish. They have more control tools than ourselves. Okay, this is unfortunately a mulligan. Let's go to 5. On 5, I will keep it, but this is not good. We might lose this. We have Inquiry and 2 lands. So I will start with a Surveil land here, and Surveil lands are good. We might find what we need. Let's yield here. Opponent cracks Misty. Turn 1 Tamio. All right. Let's focus here. Maybe I need another cup of coffee. Commercial District. Ooh, Loam. Exactly what we need. Exactly what we need. Now we have a plan. This was a bad hand of 5, but Surveil land got us on the right track. Let's get 2 lands back. And now this Inquiry will be even better next turn because we will have 2 Dredgers. Oh, my opponent is posing here. Okay, Loam resolved. So they might have a counterspell, Force of Negation, or a Surgical Extraction. Let's see. Basics. Basic Island, Basic Swamp, Clue Token, and Surgical targeting our Loam. Okay, this was tempting enough for my opponents to fire their Surgical, but we are not sad exactly after this play, because we already did what Loam was supposed to do, which is, okay, Inquisition is pretty good. A little late to the party, right? But it is always good against my opponent, because now we have access to 4 lands. Unfortunately, we will not have access to blue this game, but I will definitely play Inquisition. If my opponent has another Surgical, this will be so good. Okay, Force of Negation, Spell Snare, 2 Riddlers, and Fatal Push. We don't care about Spell Snare with this hand. My opponent has enough Riddlers to have blue spells to pitch. So, am I casting this? I'll take the risk here of improving my opponent's hand, but they can also... Okay, Tamio will flip. So my opponent still has 1 Riddler, 1 Fatal Push, and 2 unknown cards. We'll pass the turn. We now have a Dredger in our graveyard. That's what we needed to accomplish in the previous turn after my opponent's Surgical Extraction. Tamio goes up. No lands for my opponent? No, they have a land. All right. Will they pay life here? Yes. And they are passing, so they might have a counterspell. We will dredge 5. All right. We don't have access to blue mana here. I think I'll just cast a Phoenix here. If my opponent has Force of Negation, they cannot counter Phoenix. All right. It was Force of Negation. My opponent can crack a Clue and cast Fatal Push on Phoenix. So let's not celebrate. Let's see if they will see that line. Yeah, they saw that line. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, that's not fine. We need to top deck something. We don't have blue. And oh, my opponent got Surgical with Tamio. And now they targeted our Phoenix. Paying mana to do that. We are so lost. Okay, let's see. We still have... No, we are not lost. We can win only... My opponent paid 5 lives to their own lands. So we can win with chills and darts here. But we need to draw a spell to put those Stinkweed Imps there. I think I'll just cast 1 here, just in case my opponent has a flyer at some point. And we need to get rid of Tamio. If we don't, my opponent will get another Surgical Extraction in a couple of turns. So this is the equivalent of being Hellbent when you're playing Dredge. You don't have useful cards in your graveyard, and you don't have useful cards in your hand. When you are just waiting for a good top deck. And my opponent has... They still have that Fatal Push? I know that my opponent has a Riddler. Are they playing Riddler here? If they are holding Force of Negation, as I think they are, maybe they will not play Riddler. They are playing Riddler, holding Counterspell mana. Draw a card. Oh, and a Tamio. All right. We need to draw something, guys. We need to draw something. Okay, no... And Fatal Push. All right. I think my opponent did a severely misplay here, giving me the opportunity to dredge. Now we have even Conflagrate. Do I care about Tamio here? Okay, let's learn from our mistakes, right? On game 2, we lost because we couldn't deal much damage to my opponent. So let's do that while my opponent is tapped, because they cannot counter our Conflagrate. And now we just need to dredge naturally and find 2 chills and 1 dart. That's what we need. Maybe looting. Okay, Riddler. Another Riddler. What's your riddle, Riddler? Tamio will investigate. My opponent can flip Tamio here. So they are... Oh, a frog instead. I was expecting my opponent to flip Tamio to get Surgical in a couple of turns. So let's dredge. Now we have looting. It's better to just loot here, right? We are on a healthy 22 life, so let's cast looting here. We will dredge, okay, and dredge. Holy darts. My opponent is virtually on 4 life. We need to find... We are dredging deep here. We have only 16 cards left. My opponent plays Polluted Delta. Are they cracking Polluted Delta? Hopefully. They can cast a Riddler here. My opponent attacks. Now they will flip Tamio. They discarded a Fatal Push. 2 cards in their hand. I thought that my opponent will cast Riddler here to get more cards, Frog, something like that. But if they are not doing that, it's because they are holding counter spells again. So chills. No chills. We have a Conflagrate. Conflagrate or looting. I think I'll just cast Stink with Imp as a blocker here. Okay, my opponent let me resolve this Stink with Imp. I'm being patient here because I think my opponent has counter spells, maybe Force of Negation. My creatures resolved in previous turns. Okay, my opponent has another Fatal Push. Only 2 cards in their hand, and they drew another card, 3 cards now. Yeah, my opponent decided to... They don't need another Surgical Extraction. They will try to control the game without it. And maybe they are right. I don't play Control in Modern, so it is difficult to be sure. But in their place, I would probably flip in Tamio to get that Surgical back to my hand in a couple of turns. My opponent now has Teferi. My opponent had the chance to flip Tamio some turns ago. They could even have 2 Surgicals, 2 new Surgicals. Really push us back in this game. Okay, we have lethal, guys. So let's try Conflagrate targeting my opponent, dealing 2 damage. And if my opponent has only a counterspell or Force of Negation, it will not be enough. If they have 2 counterspells here, it will be enough. Okay, we have 3 darts. So I don't have much choice here, right? Let's see, my opponent is down to 2, down to 1, and that's it. I'm going in. All in. We won. Guys, I don't think we deserve to win this, but being a successful player is also winning when your opponent misplays, right? Let's keep going. Round 3. We are on the draw with a good hand. We actually have our full combo here. This Otherworldly Gaze can find us a 3rd land, maybe, and we are on the draw. So this is a keep. My opponent also kept 7 cards. And Overgrown Tomb. Alright. Scary. This is a bad matchup. Okay, we are talking about opponents that... opponent might have Endurance in the main deck, and also a fast combo. We have a fast combo, but we lost the die roll. So let's see. My opponent has 3 mana available on turn 2. And okay, Warren Soul Trader. So this is probably the Samwise combo, right? Could be Yawgmoth, but I think it's the Samwise combo. So Thundering Falls here. My opponent might have the win next turn. You never know. So let's put this into our graveyard. We need 1 more turn to win. We can win on turn 3, probably. We could protect talent here for a single turn, but I don't think we need to do that. And we don't need to care that much about our points of life here, life total, because I think my opponent, when they win, they will win with a combo and not being mid-rangey. We have the win next turn. That's certain. I'm certain that we have the win here with Gaze and Inquiry. We just need to to get to our turn 3. So please, opponent, no endurances and no combo kills. Okay, white mana for our opponent. They have 3 mana available again. Abzan. The sound of Abzan for me reminds me of mosquito. Abzan, Abzan, Abzan. Okay, just an Orcish Bowmasters. We're down to 16. My opponent can sacrifice orcs to get treasures, so this is a way to ramp a little bit. If they sacrifice 2 creatures here, they can get to 4 mana. Oh no, is my opponent winning? What are they doing? Okay, they are convoking, they are calling a creature that costs 2 mana. The Marionette Apprentice. This is not lethal yet, but my opponent needs a single turn to win here. Let's cast Otherworldly Gaze. Talent will trigger. My opponent can deal something like 10 damage here. Okay, they are creating a treasure. Why they are doing that now? Okay, creating 1 more treasure. Okay, my opponent is draining me here, but to do what? To cast another Orcish Bowmasters while they can. Alright. So now they have only 1 card in their hand. And we are alive, but not by much. My opponent has almost lethal here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, almost lethal for my opponent. I want Creeping Chill so badly. Okay, we found 1. And Lava Dart. Lava Dart is not that good here because my opponent can sacrifice creatures at instant speed. But now we are on a healthy 13 life. My opponent cannot win the game this turn. And we have a basic mountain in our hand. Let's dredge 4. Conflagrate. Okay, guys, I think we don't need to resolve Burning Inquiry here. We can win with Conflagrate. My opponent is already down to 9 because they paid so much life to their Soul Trader. So let's do the math here. I have 5 cards in my hand. My opponent cannot deal damage to creatures here, right? Each opponent loses 1 life. So I think we have the win here, guys. I already... Yeah? What a weird win. Let's see, my opponent has 1 card in their hand. So hopefully we'll not... Let's cast Lava Dart first. Just to... If we find another Creeping Shield, I will feel safer. But I think we have the win here. Okay, my opponent is down to 8. They did nothing. Okay, let's do the thing. 5 damage targeting your face. And we didn't need Life from the Loam to accomplish that. Only 1 with nothing look-alike play. Just casting a Conflagrate, discarding my 5 cards. And now Phoenix will enter the battlefield. My opponent has exactly 3 life. Yeah, my opponent tried a suicidal approach with Soul Trader, but paying that much life too soon in the game wasn't a good idea. And now we have the win here. Whew. Okay, my opponent will do something. Okay, they are dealing damage. Okay, they are killing themselves. Okay. Okay. It's just a statement. You will not win. I will lose. Okay. So now what? My opponent probably have Endurances. We could include Surgical here. We could include Lightning Axe. We didn't see Birthing Rituals. So if my opponent has Rituals... The thing is, playing Modern Leagues on Magic Online, sometimes your opponent is not playing the expected deck list, right? Like I'm doing today with Inquisition of Kozilek. It's the best way to just try new things before going to bigger tournaments. So I think on the draw, I don't care that much about Inquisition here, because I think my opponent might have a fast combo instead of just trying to get Endurance. So I will not play with fear of Endurance here. I fear my opponent's combo instead. We can always rebuild our graveyard after Endurance. So this is a good kip. This is actually pretty good. We can get rid of 1 creature. We have not a full combo because we don't have talent, but we don't need talent to win. My opponent has Overgrown Tomb and Goose. And we even have Surgical here if my opponent has a combo with the cat or something like that. Another Dredger, not the worst. Do we care about Gilded Goose here? I think I'll wait for my opponent's next creature here. I know that I'm anticipating that I have something, playing Stomping Ground untapped. Maybe I should play Arid Mesa instead. And my opponent is anticipating here is representing Endurance or Orcish Bowmaster. So I think I will kill Goose now. And if my opponent wants to play a Flash Endurance, they can do it just to shuffle my Dredger, but I don't think so. Maybe they have a Chord of Calling here, like they had on game 1. Okay, there is a movement. Oh, sacrificing the food. Oh, Endurance, all right. All right, so my opponent is spending a turn just to get rid of 1 card, but we can rebuild our graveyard. Oh, Overgaze is pretty good. Let's start with Faithless Looting. Okay, new enablers, but no new lands. What will be my next play here? If we find a Loam, we don't need Otherworldly Gaze. Or maybe we can just cast Gaze on our upkeep here. I don't want to discard Surgical. Maybe you don't need 2 Inquiries, right? Inquiry is our last enabler before going off. So let's just cast Gaze at the end of this turn. My opponent attacks with Endurance and Samwise. Okay, we don't have a way to kill Samwise here, but we might win next turn if we find a land. So let's find a land. Okay, land. So unless my opponent has another Endurance, they have 3 cards in their hand. We can now cast Gaze, Looting, Inquiry, Surgical, win the game. Maybe Gaze, Looting, Surgical, Inquiry, win the game. This is something. Let's crack Bloodstained here to get a basic mountain here. And I will cast... Okay, 1 chill. This is just a way to see if the coast is clear. If my opponent has another Endurance, I think they will fire it immediately. They don't, so let's cast our Faithless Looting. Dredge 5. Dredge 5. Another chill is great. Another dart is great. Okay, I'm certain that my opponent doesn't have Endurance, but I think I will cast Surgical now, right? I don't want to lose the Surgical, and at least if something goes wrong, we'll have some free information from my opponent's deck and hand. I think we're going to win now on this turn 3 without Artist's Talent. Actually, this is not guaranteed because we don't have any Phoenixes yet, but we'll dredge 14 or 15. So let's cast the Surgical Extraction and see what's going on. Good thing is turn 3 and we had 4 spells. Force of Vigor. Okay, but I don't have Leyline. Yeah, my opponent was prepared against a possible Force Leyline of the Void. But today we are playing Surgical Extractions instead. I can see myself going back to Leyline if decks like this get some popularity again. Okay, this is just a standard, right? Only one extra endurance in my opponent's deck. And a second Samwise is not what my opponent wants. They need that Cauldron Familiar. Hopefully they will discard it here. With the second dart, we can even kill Samwise here if we don't get a win. Oh, 2 Arclight Phoenixes. And 1 chill. We have the win. We have the win. Ooh. We dredged 14 cards deep here, and it was enough to win the game. My opponent discarded Birthing Ritual, alright. So I don't think my opponent can do anything here. And this is a turn 3 win. This deck is so good to win on turn 3. Oh, I saw something on Facebook. We have a community, a Dredge community on Facebook. And someone asked there if this deck can win frequently on turn 3, because this is a way to survive in today's modern metagame. I think I need to answer that guy. 3-0, guys, let's go. All right, guys, round 4 against darikun. Let's mulligan this, and let's mulligan this again. Unfortunately, we are on the draw. Oh, man. My opponent also had the mulligan to 5. Okay, let's keep that. Maybe my opponent has a turn 1 Thoughtseize. Hopefully. This will be interesting. I'll not go to 4 if I have access to 2 surveillance, guys. But this is not a good hand, of course. My opponent played Arid Missa and passed. And another land, why not, right? Let's start with Thundering Falls. Okay, looting can be what we need. So we have the Modern Challenge starting in 31 minutes. And usually I don't play challenges on Thursdays, but today I have a free day at home. So I might be playing this list on today's challenge. Okay, this is a Prowess deck. The thing is, I usually don't play Modern Challenges because the schedule for Modern Challenges is so challenging for me. Because usually I can only play 1 challenge on a weekend. And the Modern Challenge, usually, to play it, I mean, I need to get up pretty early in the morning. And it is a challenge, indeed. Okay, my opponent had a mulligan to 5, and even if this is Prowess, this seems to be... Okay, Dredger is great. This seems to be a slow start for my opponent, so maybe you have a chance. A slow start for Prowess, and also a slow start for us. Unfortunately, we need more than that. Let's discard our Dredgers and pass a turn. 1 Lava Dart in case we really need to destroy a Darcy from my opponent. My opponent will draw 1 extra card. Next turn we'll probably just... Sorry. We'll probably just cast Faithless Looting and maybe 2 darts. Okay, my opponent has Monasteries with Spare and Preordain. Yeah, it feels like we'll have a turn 3. My opponent will not have... Because Prowess decks usually can Goldfish turn 3s pretty easily, right? If you don't have blockers like we don't here, and if you're not threatening your opponent. Usually Prowess decks can be faster than you. But here, if my opponent doesn't have a free spell now, we'll still have, okay, 9 life. So come on, deck. We need to find something. Dredge 5. 3 Phoenixes. Okay, so I was thinking on casting Sync with Imp as a blocker, but now we have a real shot here. If we find another Lava Dart, we can get 4 Phoenixes back. Okay, let's try it. We just need to find 1 dart. Dredge 4. No dart. Dredge 4. Okay, no dart, unfortunately, but we want 3 life. So maybe. I was expecting to find the best, like 2 Creeping Chills and 1 dart, and win the game right now, dealing 20 damage to your opponent immediately. Okay, my opponent is down to 14. We are up to 11. We need to survive this turn. So if my opponent has just creatures or some expensive iteration, so my opponent can find something here. But this is turn 4. We might have a turn 4, guys. Let's cross our fingers. Let's cross our fingers. We might have a turn 4. So my opponent is already dealing 5 damage. They need 2 extra spells here. Steam Vents. Untapped, alright. Surgical Extraction. Oh no. On our Phoenix. Yeah, this is the main deck Surgical Extraction that some players use these days. They really fear Atraxa. A Giant Lifelinker is not good for Prowess decks. Okay, my opponent has the win with Lava Dart. So we are behind Prowess here, but we had a terrible a terrible start with just Stink with Imp and 4 lands, right? And we almost got there. Almost. So against Prowess, this is my first time sideboarding with this new configuration here with 4 Inquisitions in the main deck. Inquisition is especially good against Prowess if you have it in our starting hand. I might try this. The thing is, being on the play, I think artists' talent are still good, but being on the draw against Prowess, they might be too slow. Okay, we have Inquisition, we have Conflagrate, but this is just too slow. 2 chills in our starting hand, oh man. I think we need to keep it. I will not go to 5 on the play, but we need to start with Otherworldly Gaze instead of Inquisition, at least to find our second land before going off. And we have this Creeping Chill, unfortunately, in our hand. My opponent plays Scouting Time, my opponent kept 7, but they don't have a turn 1 creature. This is one thing against Prowess. Sometimes they come back on the draw more control-ish, with several cards that usually you don't expect from an aggro deck, right? They come back more like Creeping Chill, good, let's drain. More like Izzet control deck that wins with Corey Steelcutter and casting several spells in the same turn. So Otherworldly Gaze. Oh, my opponent will counter it? No, I need to resolve it. Down to 14 already. Okay, my opponent is casting Spell Pierce on a flashback card, and we, like a boss, did hit another land from the top. And this is because we play 19 lands. Never play Dredge with 18 lands, guys. Now, Inquisition of Kozilek, alright. No Surgicals. Bubble is a hit draw, Lava Dart is not a good thing to discard it here. Slick Shot costs 2 mana, my opponent has only 2 mana. Slick Shot is the best card from my opponent's hand, but I think the way we mess with my opponent's hand, is taking the Swift Spear, because the Swift Spear alone can represent something like 10 damage in a couple of turns. And now my opponent doesn't have a haste creature this turn. They can cast Slick Shot, but without going off, but oh, my opponent is passing? Okay, my opponent is not even plotting the Slick Shot, so I think they are really control-ish. Yeah, another Spell Pierce. So let's draw a land. Looting is also good. So let's draw a land and a Dredger. No. But considering that my opponent is playing that slow, this might be fine. It is quite tempting here to discard Phoenix Dart and get a 3/2 flyer against my opponent on 12 life, but we can see that my opponent has two removal spells in their hands. So no, let's discard our Chill and Phoenix. So my opponent skipped a turn just to hold Spell Pierce. And this was actually good. Okay, now my opponent doesn't have Spell Pierces. So it's our moment to finally resolve a gaze. Yeah. And we found a Dredger, we found another Phoenix and a land. This Otherworldly Gaze was good. We had a little bit of everything we want. Only one Dredger, but with 2 Phoenixes and my opponent tapped out. The thing is, we might improve our opponent's hand here a little bit. On the other hand, they have answers to our Phoenixes, and finding more Creeping Chills would not be the worst. On the other hand, if I cast Burning Inquiry, I'll give my opponent an opportunity to naturally end up with a Surgical Extraction in their hand. But I think we need to take that risk, because the reward is so much better than the risks. I mean, or we can just cast Lava Dart and get 6 damage, but then my opponent can just destroy our Phoenixes. So let's cast Burning Inquiry. Dredge 4. Great. Dredge 5. Great. Dredge 3. Amazing. We have lethal here. We have lethal. My opponent has only 1 new card in their hand. And it is Surgical? It is not. We have the win. Whoa. And you never know how many Surgicals opponents on Prowess will have, right? We saw my opponent playing Surgical Extraction on game 1, but maybe they have only just a couple, or 3, not the full 4. You never know. You never know. I played against a Prowess opponent with probably the full play set. I saw 3 some days ago. Being on the draw, I'll side out all talents. We will play without talent, being on the draw. But this is what we really need to respect my opponent's first turns. Prowess decks usually play slower on the draw and pretty fast on the play. If my opponent has 2 creatures and many ways to buff their creatures to win on turn 3, gold fishing, they will do that. So if we simply get looting turn 1, talent turn 2, we might just lose the game. We need to respect my opponent's deck. Prowess is not just a budget deck. You really need to respect it, Prowess, because it is a good deck. This is our 4th match this league. I might not play the 5th match immediately here because we have a Modern Challenge about to start. But as soon as I can, yeah, I'll play the Modern Challenge. I'm not sure if I will play with this same deck here. I'm having a nice time with Inquisition of Kozilek in the main deck. Let's see how Inquisition will pay off or not in this third game against Prowess. My opponent is okay. Oh, this hand. We are on the draw. This is a risky hand. We need another land. If we find a second land, this hand is everything we want to be, except for that Creeping Chill, of course. My opponent kept 7. If they kept 7 cards, it's because they have a turn 1 creature. So I think I will try it, guys. We are on the draw. Usually I would say don't keep 1 landers, but because we can keep that, we never find our second land, and my opponent will just destroy us. But we are already unfavored to win against Prowess on the draw, so I will take my chances here. Preordain for my opponent. Okay, not that fast. 2 cards on the bottom, so maybe my opponent is looking for that Surgical Extraction. Hopefully that's the case, because that means they don't have 1 yet. And they will draw another card, so my opponent looked 3 cards deeper. Authority Gaze is pretty good, because if my opponent don't have... Actually, I will cast Authority Gaze immediately here, because since we saw counter spells on game 2, let's not wait here. Let's cast it immediately. Tapped land. Not now. Let's keep it. Let's keep it on top. So we have an answer. Next turn we will probably just cast X and play the Surveil Land, because my opponent will definitely have a creature now. If they only plot Slick Shot and nothing else, we might just play Loam, tap land and pass. Okay, so it's Spear. Swift Spear. The Human Monk hitting us, dealing 1 damage. Okay, my opponent is definitely holding something there. So let's Surveil. Third land. My opponent can always counter my Life from the Loam, right? And I don't want that. We can play around Spell Pierce with 3 lands. We can even cast Burning Inquiry and then Loam or Otherworldly Gaze next turn. Or maybe Conflagrate. So yeah. It feels so easy, right? You have Loam, so and you want to... Let's take this opportunity to kill this with Spear. My opponent is tapped. And something tells me that they might still have Spell Pierces even on the draw, even on the play. Since we want to destroy it anyways, let's do it now. We don't need to try to get my opponent by surprise. My opponent plays Fiery Islet. We are both down to 16 life, and this is turn 3. So that's not a bad start. My opponent is just plotting a Slick Shot. Okay, we have a turn 3. We have our land on top. Let's not forget. My opponent... I think my opponent is holding Spell Pierce, guys. So instead of Loaming first and then Inquiry, I'll just cast Inquiry around Spell Pierce here. You know what? Let's just Loam. Because if my opponent Spell Pierces Loam, it's even better. Yeah. Gotcha. Because now I have 1 extra Dredger. What I was thinking, of course. 1 extra Dredger is even better. Dredge 5, Dredge 5, and Dredge 5. 2 chills. My opponent discarded 3 spells. And we have Dart. And we have 2 Phoenixes. So let's attack. We are up to 21 life, guys. We are going to win against Prowess on the draw. I don't think with 3 cards in their hand, my opponent can come back from this situation here. And we can always cast that final Conflagrate that we have in our graveyard. My opponent is down to 1. They can't tap the Islet. Okay, Show Off is showing off. Mishra's Bubble, Show Off goes up. But we are up to 21. I don't think my opponent can hit us down to 0 life this turn. Only 2 cards in their hand. Already cracking Bubble to see their top card. They can crack Fiery Alley to draw a card. Okay, Violent Urge. 6-2 Double Strike. Okay. Unholy Hit up to 8. My opponent can deal... Oh! Just 16 damage. And we have the win. Ooh. For a moment I thought, and what if my opponent has Lava Dart? Okay, guys, we won. 2-1. What a comeback. What a comeback against Prowess. Final round, guys. We are on the play. And great news here. This hand is on the play. Okay, let's skip it. I'm also playing the Modern Challenge with the same deck. And I'm currently 2-0 in the challenge. So this new configuration here is already 6-0. Let's start with our Surveil Land. Creeping Chill, alright. Let's drain 3. And I'm also recording there the Legacy Challenge. The Modern Challenge, I'm sorry. Let's focus here. And this is our last round. So you have 2 different videos recorded in the same day with the same deck. And hopefully this way we'll have a wide metagame showed here to you with this new deck. Okay, my opponent has a Regavan. Let's focus here. So this is maybe energy, and we have our 3rd land. That's good. I think I'll just cast a Loam here. This is a slower start, but that's okay, because this way we can go Loam Inquiry, Loam Kozilek, Loam Surveil Land, Inquisition, Burning Inquiry, Surveil Land. We have so many options for turn 3. My opponent has a Seasoned Pyromancer. This is good to put some cards. Okay, my opponent will have a Flage soon. I want a Dart to get rid of that Regavan. Regavan is so good. Every time I play against energy, I miss my first Junt interaction of this deck with Dark Blast in the main deck. Oh, my opponent had a Tripping Charm, so Inquisition was good here. I felt so favored against Boros energy with 2 Dark Blasts and Lava Dart in the main deck. Now we are not playing those because Boros energy is not 15% of the metagame anymore. But okay, we will take another hit of Ragavan, but next turn we can have Increep plus Faithless Looting, and we are not afraid of Blood Moon. My opponent puts us down to 9, Flooded Strand, so they still have Blood Moon there. Maybe they don't want Blood Moon against us, because they will also lose Arena of Glory. Yeah. My opponent might be holding a removal spell. No, my opponent has only 3 lands. Why did my opponent passed here? Oh, they don't have 5 cards to exile to Flage, and they don't want to play Blood Moon. Okay, I see. So they will just Surveil here this time. We have enough Dredgers there. Hopefully we'll find a Faithless Looting, or at least an Otherworldly Gaze. We have a Creeping Tomb in our hand, unfortunately. That's it. Let's cast Burning Inquiry here. We'll give the cards my opponent needs to cast Flage. So Dredge 5, 1 Phoenix, Dredge 4. Okay. We can already grab our Phoenixes and also Conflagrate. My opponent is down to 11. Let's do the math here. 6, 7, 8. My opponent still has Blood Moon in their hand. We have Lethal with Conflagrate. 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. We have Lethal unless my opponent has a removal spell. But I think we'll go for it. We saw Blood Moon and 2 unknown cards in my opponent's hand. I think this is our best shot to win this game. My opponent was pretty aggressive and our starting hand was slower. So let's see. My opponent will have a Hasty Flage next turn, so we need to go for it now. We don't have another chance. This is the only way to win this game this turn. My opponent is posing here. Hopefully this is just a bluff. I'm going for it. You can pose whatever you want. I am going for it. We don't need to put my opponent down to 3. Let's see if this Arclight Phoenix will connect. Okay, down to 1. So now on my opponent's upkeep, let's kill them. Oof. The thing is, if our Phoenix didn't connect, we could kill Ragavan instead. And my opponent would still have Lethal, but just good practices, just doing the right thing. We won game 1. Only 1 game left to get our trophy on our first attempt with Inquisitions in the main board. And we had an Inquisition of Kozilek now. Guys, I will not give any spoilers about the challenge that I'm recording, but the 2 first matches were phenomenal. Like, I had beautiful wins in the last second, the last possible way. I will not give any spoilers, but hopefully we'll keep going in that challenge. Even if we end up losing more matches, and that's life. But the first rounds of today's challenge were incredible. I'll keep this, mostly because I can kill a Ragavan on turn 2. But I will not go to 5 with a hand with Inquisition, because my opponent can have Tripping Charm and Surgical. Sacred Foundry for my opponent and Ragavan, alright. Stink with Imp is good, it's our best treasure. But I think I'll start with a Surveil land here. Let's give my opponent 1 more turn to draw something. Okay, Voice of Victory. So let's cast this. Guys, someone was off here with my recording in the previous turn. I don't know what happened, but I noticed that my OBS here just got froze a little bit some seconds ago. So I'm not sure if the recording is fine. Hopefully it is. Just to summarize, Ragavan connected, and my opponent casted Voice of Victory. And now we are casting Inquisition targeting my opponent. I'll take Ajani here, and I'll cast this Conflagrate just to put it into the graveyard. I'll show my opponent what I'm thinking here of destroying their creatures, but that's life, because Voice of Victory is so good, my opponent will get so much damage here. But this way is fine, because now my opponent has only a Wrath and Ocelot Pride, and we can kill Ocelot Pride easily. So my opponent's last card is Wrath of the Skies. We need to kill my opponent's creatures now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. My opponent got the City's Blessing, but no tokens because they didn't want life next turn. So we will be Hellbent with Life from the Loam and a Dream. And let's see. Goblin Bombardment. Ooh, 1 turn late. My opponent has a Wrath, and I think we are slightly ahead here, but only with 8 life. So let's grab some lands, including Surveil Land or Blue Surveil Land, and I'll play it. We don't want other lands. Next turn we can cast Gaze Dart or Gaze Loam. My opponent has Guide of Souls, which is pretty good, and only the Wrath. So let's dredge here, dredge 5. Okay, I think I'll just cast this as a blocker. I don't want to lose more life to my opponent, and if they find a removal spell towards Liquid Imp, that's fine. Because next turn we have more chances to find the Faithless Looting and get our Phoenix back. My opponent plays a land, alright. This was a blank. All the mana in the world for my opponent, including True Treasure tokens. Let's fin the deck here and grab our last Surveil land. Another land. We are both with several lands in our top decks, but I have card selection in the late game. Let's dredge here. One chill is pretty good. Okay. We are out of danger on 10 life. Can we wait one more turn just to not shock ourselves here? I think we can. Let's play another Liquid Imp as a blocker. I know this might be too slow for your taste, guys, but we are far from winning this game. We don't have Faithless Looting in our graveyard yet. And this way I can grab my opponent found another land. This way I can grab my second blue source here without shocking myself. And now I think we will have enough tools to win. We must have. So let's start with Otherworldly Gaze in our upkeep. First spell this turn. Chill and Phoenix are great. So my opponent will go down to 10. We'll go up to 12. Do I cast our second Otherworldly Gaze or just dredge here? Let's dredge here. Okay, we found our looting. Hopefully we'll win this turn, guys. So let's pay attention. Looting. My opponent has only a Wrath. And my opponent concedes. They know what is happening here. They saw Dart Phoenix. So 2 for 7 damage. And yeah. My opponent conceded. And you can see here on Magic Online's screen that I have 2 wins and 0 losses on this current Modern Challenge. Okay, guys, this was sweet. I played this during the challenge because I wanted to end the league, of course, and because my second match was pretty fast. But now I'll have some rest and I'll record the wrap-up now. Hey guys, so I'm recording this after some more matches on the current Modern Challenge, and I'm currently 5-1 in that Modern Challenge, so yeah, with the same list. So this list with Inquisition of Kozilek so far, as I'm recording this video, is 10-1. This is almost 100% win rate, of course, only 11 matches, but if we consider a Modern League and a challenge, a Modern Challenge, a Modern 64, which is one of the most competitive events that we have every week. So far so good. And I am almost locked in today's top 8 in the Modern Challenge. I'm also recording there, so hopefully everything will be great today, and we can even enter the top 8 with this new iteration here of Phoenix Dredge. So far, since I am also playing the challenge there, I can talk freely here, not only about what you already saw here during this league, but also things that I'm noticing about the deck in other matches. Guys, because of Inquisition in the main deck, I won against some combo decks, faster combo decks like Storm, Amulet Titan. Burning Increase, incredibly good to disrupt your opponent's hand when your opponent is playing combo. Talent is great in our deck, but I'm having so many great wins without Talent. And this tells me that I was on the right track when I took one Talent from the deck to include something else. Because Talent is pretty good, but our opponents are prepared. So far in this Modern Challenge, I played against several white opponents. Opponents playing white mana, with white disruption against Phoenixes and Talent, sometime with other cards like Surgical or Spell Bombs, and I'm winning, which tells me that not easy matchups, guys. Not an easy matchup in the house, but I am winning with this deck. So Talent still great, but it's important to remember that we can still win without Talent, sequencing our spells in the right way. And Inquisition of Kozilek on turn 1 or turn 2 is pretty good to open the road for your Phoenixes, or open the skies, so your Phoenixes can fly freely, usually in the next turn. Chills are a necessity in this aggro meta, not only because it's our strategy here to burn our deck, to burn our opponent with Chills, Phoenixes, and 1 Conflagrate, but Chill is pretty good to keep you with a healthy life total against aggressive decks. And I think we have a great configuration here to keep going, guys. Round 7 is about to start in the Modern Challenge. I'm also recording there, so you can expect... I'm not sure, if, since I am recording both both tournaments in the same day, maybe I will upload this first, maybe I will upload the challenge first. So if you're watching me here talking about a future challenge, but I already uploaded the challenge on YouTube, I'm sorry. But well, I'm so excited. This is a great day for me as a Magic the Gathering player, because if you've been watching me here on this channel, you know a little bit about my history. You know that I grew up as a Magic player playing Legacy, and just recently I started playing Modern after Modern Horizons 3, mostly because of Faithless Looting and Cephalic Coliseum being both legal cards in Modern. But since then, I feel like I did so much to improve Dredge in Modern, even if Dredge is not a tier 1 deck anymore. With tight gameplay and great deck building, I think we can still do really cool stuff, and maybe even winning tournaments here and there. As a Dredge player, as a deck builder, I'm feeling so great, so happy, so proud of this hard work that I put into this deck. About our sideboard, we didn't have many opportunities to include Surgicals, Picker Poison into the Fluid Maw. Actually, the majority of our opponents were playing decks that we are already pre-sided board to play against them. Before including Inquisition of Kozilek in the main deck, I've been including Inquisition of Kozilek in games 2 and 3 from the sideboard against the opponents that we saw today. So now that our deck is pre-sided against them, maybe this is why we got a trophy on our first run, on our first attempt. That's pretty much it. The other tournament still has a round, and let's cross our fingers so I can enter the top 8. Don't forget to click the like button here, subscribe, and leave a comment below if you're excited to watch this beautiful Phoenix Dredge monster here in action here on our channel. See you soon. Bye.